Hey, everybody. Me and my bestie, Belinda, and you've seen us go out and have dinner. We've shown you our beautiful pictures and our fun times, and we like to get a little drink on.
Bit.
Just a little bit, too. But one of the conversations that we always like to have, and think we find ourselves having more often than not, specifically in these times in which we live, is about family dynamics. And I know that as we get ready to start this conversation, you may see some of yourselves in either one of us or hear a family member in what we are about to discuss. So dig in and take the ride with us. Talk about your thoughts about family and family dynamics.
Wow. Come on my dad's side. It's a very large family. My mom's side, not as much, but definitely a large family in totality. So there are a lot of personalities. I'm a big personality. There are a lot of big personalities in my family. I grew up in Queens, New York, and in close proximity to a lot of family. So it was just fun. I mean, as they say, your cousins are your first friends, and we grew up together, and we learned together, and we loved together. And there was some dysfunction in there, as in every family, and nothing sinister or tragic per se. Just depends on who you ask. But I think it was more of a dynamic of learning each other, learning what worked, what didn't, and where you fit in. That was the biggest challenge for me, is kind of where you fit into this big family of dynamic personalities and how that works for you.
The one thing I also realized too is even with family dynamics, I don't come from a large family. My family is very small. But even in so, I knew early on that there was something a little bit different about me that was set aside from my family. Although we were all, we kind of had similar personalities, there were just certain visions and things that I felt and sensed about where wanted my life to go, the direction I wanted to take. And sometimes even, even just when you decide to try different foods, it can be seen as like, why do you like that? Why you want that? Why what is that? Can you
Yeah,
talk about things like that? Have you
absolutely.
experienced that?
I did. I think as a child, I was always really, really inquisitive. I was the one asking all the questions, wanting to know what was going on. Curious. I think that's why I'm a journalist, because I was always kind of curious about other people and what they were doing and why they were doing it, and wanting to be a part of that or not. Just sometimes I wanted to do something different, or I just didn't like the thing that the group was doing. As a child, I just went along with it most of the time. Just
Hmm.
you get in to fit in. You just, oh, that's what we're doing today. Okay, I'm going to do that. And then as I got older, I started saying, no, I don't want to do that. I want to do this thing. And sometimes I'd have people who wanted to do what I would do, but often not, they did not want to do what I wanted to do.
Hmm.
So, then you're, as you say, you're kind of set apart. I think exposure is really key. I was blessed to be exposed to lifestyles and cultures and things growing up in New York. I mean, from 5 years old, we were playing with children from other races and ethnicities, and their parents spoke multiple languages, and that was the norm. We just were able to navigate all those cultures and changes and things. But within my family, it was kind of a Southern upbringing. My mom's Caribbean, she's Caribbean, and my dad is from the South. But our household kind of had those Southern roots in it, and
Hmm.
those Alabama roots, and that's kind of what the expectation was, that we were, Southerners, if you will. And growing up as Northerners, there was that disconnect between the cousins in the South and the cousins in the North, and so we've learned as we've gotten older that there were some animosity there. There was some resentments there. There were a lot of things that were challenging for certain members of the family, myself included. And I think for me, it was more as I got older and had a voice. Once I really learned my voice, it was um it was a little easier to navigate, but still having my voice, but still wanting to fit in. It was I didn't really understand what I was doing until now. It's like, oh wait, I didn't want to do that thing, but I did it anyway to fit in. And now when I want to do something, I'm kind of like looked and frowned upon, like, why you want to do that? Why you want to go there? Like, what's wrong with you? So as a child, I cried about it a lot. And then as I got older, I thought about it a lot. So I just shifted. I went from crying about not really understanding why I was treated a certain way, or why things were different for me, to fighting about it, going, no, I deserve whatever it is I wanted to do. And also I've always kind of wanted to stick up for the underdog. So if there were people in my family and who needed my assistance in any way, I was there, right or wrong. A lot of times they were wrong, and I still fought for them. It didn't matter. I would fight for you because that was the dynamic in our family. Like we rode hard for one another as children, especially as young adults and
How
children.
do you feel when you finally come to the determination that those very people that you've championed for, or people who are really in close proximity of you, that they don't like you? They don't like
Well,
you.
it hmm, that's tough because I don't think it's intentional.
Mm.
I think that it is misunderstand I think a lot of it is misunderstanding. At least that's what I told myself, that a lot of it was misunderstanding, like I'm just being misunderstood, or like someone just doesn't really understand where I'm coming from. Um, I think I tried harder to make them like me, the ones that didn't. Um, and that didn't go well for me. It is difficult for me to accept that. That's, some people, even in your own family, just don't like you, or don't want to be around you, or don't want to deal with you. So that was tough. But if I didn't think it was anything I did, and if I did, it's really interesting, because if it was something I did, I wish somebody would just tell me. Just tell me so we could work through it. I think we're now at our big ages that we can just talk about it, agree to
But here's the
disagree,
thing,
or
sometimes you can't, sometimes it can be the thing that you're talking about,
mhm,
but oftentimes I find when you really do the work, like your own personal work, you will come to discover, when you really go back through your history and
mhm,
you walk it all the way up to where you are now. And again, this is when you have done deep dives, therapy, whatever that looks like for you as far as work. The veil is off when you realize it was nothing that you did, it was
mhm.
nothing that you said. It can sometimes just be they don't like you based on who you are, what you represent, and
Mhm.
how you operate in the world.
That's tough for me to handle.
Why?
Um because um I love deep, and when you love people, and you love the way you want to be loved, right? That's what we all do. You love people the way you want them to love you back. And when you don't get that back, it is confusing. It is disheartening. It makes me sad more than mad. Like I said, I went from it's a cycle. I was sad as a child, then I was mad as a kind of adolescent, young adult, and now I'm back to being a little bit sad. I'm trying to navigate it the best way I know how. And I think, again,
What does that look like?
putting other people's feelings before myself. So I'm not doing that anymore. Making sure that everybody else feels okay about it, not calling, as they say, not calling a thing a thing. um I'm coming into my own of saying, you know what, no, I don't want to be around that individual because they hurt me, or because they don't champion for me, or they don't want me around. So um for now, I would say I navigate it by avoidance. Just avoid it and don't engage. I don't know if that's the right strategy, but that's pretty much what I do. I
Well, I
don't.
will share that for me and my with my family. There's a family dynamic. There's a family member, excuse me, that I'm specifically going to tell a story about, to where I realized that that family member betrayed me. And
Wow.
it wasn't a betrayal like, oh, with money or whatever, but it was with loyalty. Belinda
Okay.
and I are both Tauruses, and Belinda's birthday is May 11th. My birthday is May 17th. And because of that, there is something about when I've decided to commit to somebody, family, friends included, and even friends that I've turned into family. I'm extremely loyal. And to a fault, I expect the same kind of loyalty that I give in return, unbeknownst to me. And God always does this to me at the end of the year. He will reveal something to me about someone that really shifts how I go into the next new year.
Mhm.
So, this family member I learned had done something that I didn't know for a long time that he'd done, and made it into a joke, and did
Mm.
it amongst people who were at a New Year's Eve gathering at the house. That when I got the revelation about what this family member did, it shattered me.
Mhm.
And to the point where I started crying and I knew it was time for me to go. And then the drive
Mhm.
home, so many things that were just unraveling with, with what he said, how he said it, and the lack of emotional kindness that he did not
Mhm.
show to me. And even to this day, never got an apology, never really sat down and talked about it, because in my mind, I realized that my relationship with him was done. My
Mm.
relationship with him was over. And I'm very like, once I realize you don't mean me any good, or you don't understand where I'm coming from, or you don't relate to me based on what I'm saying, take yourself out of you and just hear me and look at it, feel it through my eyes. I'm the kind of person, people like that to me are dangerous, because I'm like, so you thought that was funny. You don't see it as betrayal, and you don't care how that made me feel. Got it. And
Mm.
I'm one of those ones where I cut off. I remove myself from people, and I don't care who they are, whether we share bloodlines or not. If it is not good for me, my energy, my spirit, my inners, if it rattles me inside, I believe that's God's way. That's Holy Spirit's way of letting me know, stay the hell away from whoever that is.
Mhm.
Because I found that the more you kind of operate in that space, you also realize you do have to have a guard up. You do have to pretend. You do have, and at my big age, I just can't pretend anymore.
The difference is like how you say I always want to know why, and I've got to get over the why. Like, why would you want to hurt me? Why would you say that thing about me? Why would you do that thing? Why would you invade my privacy? Why would you do something to me? Because I do, and
And if the answer is because I don't like you, then what would that cause another question? What if the answer
Mhm.
is I'm jealous of you? What if the answer is secretly I want to destroy you because I don't like that you're doing so well, that you're great, that you've got friends that you what if that's the answer?
But to me, like, what kind of person is that? That's not like, why do you? I mean, and I say that about a lot of things, but specifically with things.
To watch the rest of this conversation, the full conversation, go to my Patreon.